So, yeah, it's the old Dodge, right? So we are, you guys can see me in that camera, right?
I should be hot.
That's my line. I literally used that. I'm the hottest thing in the video, and she stole it. So everything around me should be blue and black because it's obviously colder than my skin. So it's going to fluctuate based on however the person who has this is going to move. So if you take somebody's skin out of it, then it's obviously the orange, red, and yellow is going to fluctuate somewhere else. So we're literally looking for blue and black spots to move on their own. Those are going to be the coldest areas inside there, and we want to try to keep a person in view because our flesh is obviously warmer than the 70 degrees that's out here. At least we better be, unless you guys are zombies walking around. Was it Chris? Yep. Oh man, I'm on it. You're going to hold it horizontal all night long. If that orange square on your left-hand side turns to a circle, let me know. That means I have to splice some video together for you, but just try not to hit it. It just takes a lot of time. Okay. So, but yeah, you're going to be our video camera guy. Only because you haven't said a word.
How hot am I right now? You got to look at me. I'm like 70,000.
You are on fire.
Am I on fire?
Yep.
Thought so. Say it, Kelly. I am on fire!
This girl is on fire.
Woo!
We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight.
Of what?
Spirit boxes.
Spirit boxes. Oh, I know. Yours? Spirit boxes. You have one, Ricky.
So this first one we're going to be using, well, let me explain what they are first, because some people in the group might not know. So spirit boxes sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. On your TV shows, is that white noise that Zach Bagans, then he tells you what he heard, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's most of it's BS. So we're going to be doing this in real time, which means I have mine slowed down. I want the radio chatter to come through. What does that mean? I want you to tell me what the song lyrics are, the DJs, the commercials. If you can make it out, it's a 50-50 shot. Then I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about, or something happening with us. Why you're jumpy?
She's excited.
She's a screamer. So excited.
So the cool thing about this, guys, it's going to record the entire session for us. What does that mean? That means it doesn't record any outside noise, and it even records when it's on mute. It's recording right now. So when you guys get your audio back tomorrow morning from this guy, it's going to be one even level of volume. So this is what it sounds like. It's literally flipping to the radio station. There's something coming through that I can hear. Next time is what I heard out of that. You guys get the gist of what I'm looking for in that? It was a DJ, but could have been a commercial for all I know. But this jumpy, this one's going to go to you.
Oh no.
But you have to pick a partner, because I like 2 sets of ears on this.
I'm not.
That's why there's 2 sets of
Wait,
ears
we
on.
have to listen to it?
Yes.
Which means you can't talk.
You can. Well, I'm going to teach you more about these devices again at our first
Funny,
meeting.
Chad.
This is nothing.
Would stay this quiet.
So
Should've gave it to her.
when I say spirit
Do
box
us
is
all a
up, that's
favor.
when you'll turn it up. So what I'll need you to do, there's a volume button at the very top. It's a wheel, not the button. So you want to turn the wheel because you're going to control the volume.
Okay.
So that way you won't scare yourself. That's why I gave you that one.
You're gonna be in trouble.
That's why I gave you that one.
Good job, guys.
All right, we're going to stick with spirit boxes and get all these out here so I know where they're at. So this one is the common one you see on TV. Do you guys watch the TV shows?
Yes,
Yes,
like
okay.
Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
I watch Ghostbusters.
We were playing that song and twerking to it. No.
All right, so
That
I
was
want to go
Is that
with
like
this
the
one.
stress ball?
What's that? It's a speaker, so we can hear
Don't
it.
stress it.
So I want to put one over here on this side. This one definitely needs 2 people. Yeah, let's go with the 2.
2 Chads.
2 Chads. Chad squared. So this one.
No, Gage and Chad.
Gauge and Chad. All right. So the way this one works, the volume button's on the side of the speaker. You hold it up to turn it up, and you hold it down to turn it down.
Okay.
It's just that simple.
Yep.
Again, 2 sets of ears on that guy.
Make sure it's still there because I pulled it out last night. Well, I was puking and then had to no, this was before I was puking. Anyways,
So please don't tell me if you can keep getting closer.
I got food poisoning.
Oh, that was me last summer. All right. So last spirit box is an actual app. So I have this set up on a phone. What it's going to do is it's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save all of those words to a list. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. 80% of it is absolute bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. is meant to be a game or a hoax. Okay, so the 5 to 20%, you're going to get the whole list back. But the words that I find that are relevant, I'm going to bold them and then tell you why it's relevant and then give you a link of where I got my information from. So everything I do, you guys got to remember, my gimmick is honesty. I'm not going to make things up for you. I'm not Zach Bagans. There's not going to be any demons. You know, nobody's going to get scratched and like none of that BS you see on TV. So this is the real deal. So this one only goes to one person. You're pretty quiet, so I'm going to need you to speak up when this thing starts going off. I'm going to clear out the list from my last group and start you guys off fresh. So the word horizon will not be part of your, all you need to do is watch it. Plain and simple. Let me know when a new word pops up.
Chad, do you get anything yet? Chad number 2? Thing 2?
Alright, so if you guys are movie buffs, you guys are going to get my movie references all night long. This is the Neuralizer from Men in Black. I need you all to stare right here. You get way too excited about everything. This is a grid pen. So flashy lasers.
I want that. I can do 2, actually.
Okay, I want that.
So the person who says they want it absolutely does not get it. So the reason is, hang on,
Is this the closest thing to a weapon?
this is the closest thing to getting Nick in jail for real. So
Why do we go to jail?
because there's a laser law in Charleston.
Oh, I'll take it.
China.
Yeah, put me in jail. I'm the owner.
She'll
So,
start flashing.
what's so great about this thing, you guys can see the lasers on the ground, but you can't see the lasers from the pen to the ground until something passes through it. So really what we're looking for here is something to go by quickly, and that's kind of like how that's going to go. And again, if you guys, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but this guy literally has to stay on the ground. And
I gotta wash my feet when I walk.
I drank so much alcohol.
all right, this one's going to go to you.
Yeah.
That is the only responsible adult here.
Good. This one gives us red squares. Why do I want red squares and green dots? Because we catch something here. I can then put it in 3D software and give you guys a full 3D view of the apparition that we caught. And you look like you're very in tune with this stuff.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Like, this thing is really cool when we actually do catch something. Both lasers go to the same pair of hands.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
look at you.
son of a-
Whatever.
Obviously, he gave him $1 before we got here. Fuck.
Everybody's good on this side. So
You saved the best for last.
Daddy, you got quite a little thing. Yep.
We are
Pick a partner.
recording, right?
somebody doesn't have a device yet. Autumn already has a device.
Shelley, Kelly, and I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Save the best for last. You said.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah, I got a
4.
special
We
device
are
for
doing
you.
theirs together.
All right, so
Do you want your own?
Take his
Yeah, give
with
it.
us.
Okay, Autumn
all
wants her
right,
own.
Autumn,
Yeah, Autumn.
Come over here.
isn't-
You want to
gets
go with
the
me or
taser.
you want to stay with the girls?
I think she should stay with the girls.
You want to stay with them?
Girl power.
Yes, girl power. Is Autumn taking the pictures?
Do you guys want to take the 2 lasers and give Chad the recorder thing?
No.
no, lasers do not go to kids. Nope, absolutely not.
We are fresh adults.
Yeah, laugh at me.
I don't trust
I'm hot.
myself with lasers. I do.
I know it's getting warm.
Gage has been begging for a
I
laser.
should have left this in the truck.
I
All right.
am 18.
So who's going to be working with you? Are you going to stick with them or are you going to go back?
Wait, what?
All right.
I'm responsible.
Richard can work with me.
Don't give it to her. She's
It's
the
a
least
camera.
responsible of all the kids.
It's a camera. You like taking pictures?
Oh, yeah.
All right, come on.
She takes pictures all the time.
So
She's good at
literally what you're going to be doing, flash one of your lasers on the ground for me. We're looking, because he's not going to be able to catch the things that are going to be flying through it, right? Because it's going to be too
When
quick.
I see it fly,
No, you're literally just going to be taking pictures at waist level all night long.
Do not take
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of your crotch.
Don't do it.
And you're going to be going through the laser,
No,
not
Kelly.
down at it. I know what the dots look like. I want to catch something here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so
So you got 4 or 5 pictures already. There's no flash on this camera for a reason. I don't want any false positives.
I'm scared.
There is no flash.
I'm pretty
So-
sure we're on my group.
you don't want these both?
Irresponsible.
Don't.
We got a new word.
I thought
Hang
that
on.
was What word is it, Richard?
Pain.
Hey, he's got a word on it.
What do you got?
Pain.
Pain?
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, back in line. We got more to go.
I did not mean to push you, honey.
All right, so EMF meters. You guys see these on TV all the time?
Yes, they're
They use
naughty.
this. Well, they use these because they're super sensitive and they measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one is going to be natural. That's why it's not doing anything. It comes from the earth. The second one's going to come from electronic devices. So anything man-made, parking meters, buildings with wiring in them, cell phones are going to make this thing go into a pulse. We don't want that either. We want it to go nuts. So it doesn't make any noise, doesn't vibrate, doesn't do anything. You need to let us know when this thing goes off.
When it what?
When it does anything, and we're going to watch it, make sure it's not a rhythm, and try to debunk what's going on.
Angela, that means no squirrels.
Oh, Maddie. Oh, she started talking and it was lighting up. Is it supposed to do that?
All right,
Oh,
so
yeah, it was. You just didn't do anything until you talked.
I got a camera.
yeah, you are going to be kind of like the bounce around because with a group of 11, I want to make sure everybody has something. So you have 2 devices. This one, we all know what this one is, right? So temperatures. So it only measures surface temperature. So basically, you're going to be kind of helping out. Name again.
Chris.
Chris, you're going to be helping Chris try to decipher what he sees on his camera. Okay, so we're going to work a lot with this guy. But this particular light is going to help out with pictures. So what it does is it actually gives us a little bit of night vision. Okay,
I'm taking pictures right now.
you can if you want, I don't care. But again, when she's working with the lasers,
Is that me? I could get
no,
one of my
when she's working with the lasers, you don't want to have the night vision on because it'll drown out the green light. Okay, now the other button, it gives us full spectrum lighting. However, this is not a full spectrum camera and does us no good by having it on. So you're basically working with the left one. And so you're going to have those 2 devices.
Are you scared?
You ready for your special device?
Where you want the gun?
Gage, you don't get a gun. You don't even get a water balloon. You get to hold the speaker. Yeah.
Shelly, this is it.
So your device is brand new. I've only had it for about a week.
I should tell you something. Splash show.
So it's a multitask. So it does a lot of different things. And we're going to work with this very carefully as we kind of go through it because it's a long explanation. So first and foremost, it's a Mel meter, which means it also measures EMF. It measures ambient temperature, not just surface temperature, and it's a REM pod. So what is a REM pod? That's probably the coolest feature about this guy is that the antenna, if something gets close to it, it goes off. If we get closer, the lights are going to go haywire. Okay? So I'm trying to set the base level again. And
We have too much activity with us. We have a lot of history with us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
good. So literally, when we're not using the REM pod, antenna down so it doesn't break. And then there's a little, like a clip back here. Just don't clip it back in place because we're going to turn that REM pod off because it's very annoying, especially for your audio. So I'll say let's work with that REM pod. But your device does a lot of different things.
So just let it
So,
Does she need to do anything with it right now?
no. So
You have to hold it like this.
we actually start here on purpose because the place is haunted, of course. So
This place is?
yeah, that's why I bring you here. Again, I tell you, I bring you to weird places. So this place used to be called Big John's Tavern. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Now, he used to sit in the back of the bar because you really need to chill. He's like very jumpy. So, I could smell that horse manure way over here. So he used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel, if they were of age or not to drink. One night 2 guys come in, they're not of age. Big John tells the bartender, get them out of here. They leave pretty pissed off. So they come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees it, big bar brawl starts to break out. A couple of shots were fired and John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up and he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender, get me another beer and go get them an ambulance. Now, John obviously won the bar fight and nobody died in that story. So what's haunting the place? A bullet hole landed in a wall. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, headaches, nauseous, those kind of things. I bring this up on purpose not to scare you, but if anybody's feeling any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. Like, it's a big deal. I told you, this is the real deal. Some of these places, psychics look at me and say, this is too much, I gotta go. I have to.
From the bullet hole that say that?
From my tour.
Okay.
So just because we're going to legitimately haunted locations,
That's amazing.
so people passing out on me is not amazing. So
Oh, shit.
yeah, I was in CPR class the next day. Luckily, I normally have a nurse in my group.
I'm a nurse practitioner.
Thank you. I don't have to use my training if it happens. So let's get our minds off of our own health. There's another bit of history here. So if you didn't already know, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. It was a 7.3. that we know of, because the Richter scale really wasn't invented yet. But anyway, the mantle that's above your heads actually broke off in the front of the building and allegedly killed somebody, and you can see his ghost out here on East Bay Street. Do I have proof of that? I do not. But it's a great story to get your mind that you might get sick from my tour. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes, sir.
All right. You guys tired of hearing me talk yet?
No.
I was going to say, I hope not, because you got a lot more to go.
I want to wrestle a ghost.
Come on, wrestle it.
Oh my god.
He's just gonna get his ass kicked by a ghost. That's what's fixing to
Oh,
happen.
when do I start taking pictures at my waist level?
Kelly, no, telling you.
That's how we get to a haunted spot.
There's a bullet hole right here. Oh, I thought that. You get everything recycled yet?
Is that meter hot?
Yes.
That felt hot over there.
This is lighting up. What's your name again? I forgot. This is lighting up.
Nice.
It's like cat.
Good. All right, so we're going to go through this kind of very quickly. This, like I said, doesn't have a whole lot of history. Let me tell you where you are and kind of give you the warning of the place first. So this is what I call the Big Red Barn Lot. This is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. You guys all smell the manure back there by Big John's. The horses are in there, and they don't have windows, so they can hear us. So we're going to keep our spirit boxes to an audible level to the two people using them only, and absolutely no lasers on the building at all. You will spook those ponies. They will kick. If you wanted a jump scare, there it is. So what's the history of this building? The only history I have is that this is the same red barn that held horses that delivered milk to Charleston. Whenever I give you history throughout this entire night, pay attention to the words I'm emphasizing. They're words and key phrases to listen for on your spirit boxes. So let's talk about those spirit boxes. This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because if they answer no, that means somebody's here. Okay? So it's a bad question to ask. We're going to stay away from yes and no questions all night long. So, for example, if one of the noisy spirit boxes, if you heard the word houses from a real estate commercial, you think you heard the word yes. It's just too common. That sound is just too common to mistake for something else. We're going to start off with something simple. Think of, first off, I want you to think of your entire time with me as kind of like a novice, intermediate, and expert level as far as the way we're going to go through this. This is novice. So we can all agree that the barn is red, right?
Yeah.
So what color, if somebody's here, what color is that barn? You're going to listen for the... Are you the ghost? I'm waiting to hear from the ghost. So,
I'm going to tell you every word.
not necessarily. What do you have?
Discerning.
So obviously you're going to be listening for the color red. It's almost a suggestive thought. But they can also, because you got to remember, those spirit boxes are kind of like Bumblebee from Transformers. It's not always going to come up with a word like red. It might give you something that's specifically red, like a fire truck or fire itself. So again, I had the word heart show up here the other night. Somebody said, what color is the barn? Heart. Hearts are generally red. So again, that made complete sense. We can also hear from team members from Big John. So, black heart. So you're going to try asking that question a few times. You want to give them enough time to try to find the right word to give you an answer. In the event you don't get an answer, move on to another question. So what's inside the barn? Now you just opened it up. Horses, animals, they're draft horses. That's their breed. They pull carriages. They delivered milk and eggs and all kinds of things. So again, all of those key phrases, this is about putting clues together. That's what really ghost hunting is. So when I give you all of your data back, you're going to see where I'm adding those clues up of like, hey, it was a theme of Big John's teammates, which is exactly what happened the other night. I was getting jersey numbers with first names. You can't make this stuff up. So again, when I can find it, it's there, and it matches up perfectly. So spirit boxes, we're going to stay within the lot so we can all obviously see each other. But the 5 people that have spirit boxes, I would say go ahead and start wandering. So thermal imaging, lasers, I think you guys have a great gist on what's going on with the lasers and pictures. Again, I would just want you to kind of
One or the other, not both at the same
yeah, you don't want to cross the streams. I know that goes a joke, but that's the best way to explain it. So like one of the other, the red's not always going to show up in the pictures. You'll see the red center on it, but if something's passing through it, it'll obviously flare up.
So if I just keep snapping, it'll be okay.
It's going over to orange.
So again, look for a rhythm. So kind of what we're like. You should be kind of close to the spirit box beam, so that way they know where the hot spots are. There's birds in here. Dude, holy, or those bats?
Those are birds.
I don't know what's up
Tyrannosaurus
Okay.
Rex.
There you
Alright,
go.
let's just see if we can catch it.
What's this spirit
Like
box?
these birds light
Spirit
up.
boxes. Maddie and Steven.
Where are those dipshits at? They should not be that
Three of you. So, what's great is I actually got rid of a device because I bought that thing. So normally the other temperature thing would go with her. So really what you're looking for, again, like those blue and black spots, but go ahead and face your camera at the barn for a second and just tell me what you see. Make sure I'm not in a picture.
Green, then it turned to red.
So it's pretty much bled red, right?
Yep,
Okay, so watch what happens. Keep it there. What happened to the barn now?
green.
Okay, so it kind of fluctuated, right? So you always want to try to keep somebody's flesh in view. So really what happens with your particular device is you're measuring the ambient temperature, that's the bottom number, and it's measuring it through this yellow guy here at the top.
Okay.
So basically what he has in his crosshairs on his screen should be somewhat close to yours. But Autumn, with yours, again, you have a laser too, so you have to be careful. So lasers can set off car alarms, so you don't want to be putting it on any cars either. Okay, so go ahead and shoot your red dot at the barn for me. I know I said no lasers on it. Nope, not that one.
The
gun.
gun.
The gun.
Oh, the
There you
gun.
go. 2300. So 23 is a specific number, so that sounds like a Jersey to me. What's your temperature on it?
64.9.
What do you have?
68, 70.
So obviously they're not synced up because you're getting surface temperature. So when yours starts to
Oh,
drop
there we
below
go.
what hers says, we obviously have something going on, which is where you're really going to come into play with yours. I mean, you have a lot more function than just helping these guys out with that REM pod, but that's really what, like the base of what you're going to be doing is helping them out with, hey, why is this temperature there? Now he said he had 68 something. What are you showing?
I got 67.8 right
Perfect. So you guys are almost in sync, and yes, that thing is going to go nuts.
Yeah, it was over there. It was all the way to red.
And then sometimes that EMF, now it's a good thing you're here because your top number is basically what her lights are. Now again, I told you this is 3 different types.
now. Right.
This is not.
Okay.
So it's not going to measure the earth, and shouldn't measure any kind of man-made object. I haven't tested that yet, but it should be measuring only the weird supernatural stuff.
Okay.
So that way, if this number starts to go above 0.4, then we should get excited.
Okay.
So it's almost a verification of what she has going on. And you
Okay.
don't have to keep that gun on the whole time. You'll burn up the battery. Which is I have extras. I don't care, but I just don't want you to flash in the wrong place. Again, it's a laser that can get me in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
But yeah, this place for you is a lot of, you have the brick, you have the metal, asphalt, foliage, like you can get to see how all the different temperatures work. But technically she should be sticking with you so that way you guys can see how the different temperatures are variant as we go through each location. As far as you go, you can stick with them, you can wander because there'll be times where I want to work with the REM pod with you. And
Okay.
here, I don't want to do anything because I need to bounce around with everybody.
Okay.
But the next location for sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
So just
good
watch
thing you
for it
came
to be
over.
above 0.4.
Okay, I got to keep you in the.
Okay. We just walk around.
Yep, pretty much. Oh, I got a black spot.
Got a black spot.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's the car.
Okay. I pointed on something. Is it the car?
Yep, it's the back window of the car. Yep, they just walked through it.
You guys see anything?
Not yet. We're working on it.
Leave it in right now. So if it gets above 4 and I said,
There was one
Are
right
you
here.
serious? Do you want to see this thing later?
Was there?
Yes, it's 4.9.
and it said above 0.4, it was 4.9 for a second. Then it disappeared.
Scam
What is that
the
up there?
What's that?
What's that up there?
We're gonna go there. Oh, you're talking about the bar up there?
Yeah, is that a
You
bar?
guys ran into it or something.
Rooftop bar, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we'll actually pass by the front of it, so you can get there's a couple of bars.
Oh, that scared him away.
Okay.
Probably $20. What are we hearing? Not recording. We'll be able to verify it's
It
recording.
said violently like
I heard 20.
Recording the entire
weird.
I
It's
heard
not recording you.
When you said this is bullshit, that made me too mad.
I heard $2,300.
Okay.
We've heard it 16 times too, Gage, because you keep saying it.
I heard $2,600. So the number 23 stands out.
Kiss my Maddie.
So I'm going to be looking at number 23 tomorrow.
Hey, I was
And
mad because
maybe another name will pop up to kind of match with that, yeah. I don't get excited about one thing, but if I get a direct number like that, you have to remember, I slowed these down, so it's going to pick up a little bit before or after. So if it's either going to be 100, which we all know, a jersey number can't be 100. I'm looking at the number 23. It's very specific. So, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like good job, bud.
I found it.
You're wandering off from me.
Not yet.
So I would tell you that your device isn't the most, I mean, it's the coolest device that I have by far, but does it always catch something? No. Have I caught a lot of stuff recently? Yes. So if I get one little 2-second blip that I can't explain, I get excited.
Okay.
So again, it's just nice to have it ready, and you're filming the whole night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not to mention we get your commentary, so if you're a skeptic, oh no. All right, does
There
everybody
won't
know
be
how the
much
devices
said.
work now? You guys ready to go learn some real history?
Yep.
All right, we got a drifter over there.
Come on, Gage.
Come on, Gage. You can go with us, bud.
It's getting closer than this.
Yeah?
See something, Owen? She had a .5.
No,
I had
because I
12.5 for a second.
turned around too damn late.
12.5 is like next level.
It is. He said told me above 0.4 and I had 12.5 but for an instant.
Are you sure it wasn't 1.2?
I don't have my glasses on. But
He's so annoyed with us. He's like, oh, these fuckers. Jeez, there's a...
Oh, it's just cable.
Yeah.
No big deal.
oh, I got a 0.5 right here. 0.5. Do you see something? 0.4. 0.2. 0. It keeps disappearing. It's quick. You gotta quick.
How many words do you have? All right, one thing I hate to show you about yours, if you hit the little calendar, it'll take you to the red. So these were probably just a few words that you missed, and it was flashing through them pretty quickly. So don't hit the red dots and don't hit clear, just hit the circle back. So if in case you miss something, because again, sometimes it'll just spit out words really quickly and you miss something. Yeah.
So if that goes off and that goes off at the same time, does it mean anything or no?
Well, that's kind of like, again, I don't get excited with just one device. So really, because that's going off now, I'm going to be paying special attention to the imaging cable during this time. I always look at this particular site. I'm going to give you the story here in a minute. But I'll be listening to the spirit boxes during this time. But that's my first base. So again, I always look for at least 2 things to be going on. All right, so where the hell are we? This is yet another parking lot. So this was actually the...
Yeah, people do not like pedestrians here. No,
So we're at the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. So their mansion sat in the front. We're standing where Eliza's garden was and went all the way across, and then their slave quarters were in the back. So who the hell were Eliza and Charles? They had a son named Charles, that's Charles number 2, and they had a nephew named Charles, that's Charles number 3. The son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution. Okay, politics, we just got out of an election year, let's move on.
Yep.
So, right? So Eliza was way cooler, plus it's still Women's History Month. So, I've been kind of priding myself on this story because it tells a lot that no other tour guide will tell you. So Eliza got married to Charles at a very young age. This is not a place, by the way, where I'm going to be giving you answers like, what color is George Washington's white horse, right? As with the Red Barn. So this is a place where you're going to have to kind of pay attention to some of the questions that you were thinking of, and I'll give you some suggestions at the end of the story and then kind of free us up. We are going to spend a good 10 to 15 minutes here, based on the amount of activity. So Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what age, because her father thought he was dying over in England. He wanted all of his kids home. She didn't want to go, so she got married. They didn't give her citizenship because this was colonial times. There was no such thing yet. So it basically just said, hey, Dad, I'm not going to go anywhere. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. So he congratulated her by sending her wedding gifts. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue jeans blue, right? That's how we use it today. Some of you are wearing it right now. So pretty cool stuff, because the rice plantations were starting to go downhill in Charleston, which was pretty much a huge cash crop for the colonies. And she stepped right in. She started the experiments here, and she also had, her slaves were from Arbella culture, which means they came straight from Africa and knew they were basically farmers over there. So she learned from them how to cultivate this plant in our weird temperatures, because it was cold 2 weeks ago. So I know you guys are from Michigan. I'm originally from Ohio. I know what cold is. But my blood is thinned over a decade. And sorry, I'm a wimp now. But some of you are in shorts. I'm like, oh man, I was. So, but at any rate, so she stepped right in and called Dad and said, hey, I need some contacts. I got this indigo plant you sent me, and we can make some serious money off of it. I need all of your contacts from over in Europe. She starts selling this internationally, which makes her a businesswoman in the 1750s. How crazy is that? No such thing as a businesswoman back then. So, a couple of weird facts about Eliza. So here's the questions you can ask. Now, you probably have some stuff about the indigo and all that other stuff, and that's fine, but there's weird stuff. So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. They both go by their maiden name, not their middle name. So younger folks, you guys usually say middle name. It's maiden. So they both start with L, and I'm not going to tell you what they are. So try to find out from your spirit boxes. Obviously, I told you about Eliza. You married young. You can ask how old Charles was when they got married. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was, where did she die, what did she die from, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. That's a pretty big one. You can. I'm just giving you a lot of suggestions. You can ask what happened to the mansion. Most people go after that presidential question because it's very specific and they want that kind of proof and evidence. So again, very specific questions. If you're going to ask anything about the children, keep it to just how many kids did you have. Please don't poke around with kids. There was a tragedy there, and all activity will stop if we're getting anything. If she wants to talk about that tragedy, she'll let us know. So, if you want to talk to Charles, you can ask about his birthday, his political party, those kind of things. We're going to explore this lot, spirit boxes. So the noisy ones, you guys kind of need to stay away from each other so you guys can hear what's actually going on. Your EMF meter, now I'm having to learn some the light is blinking tonight. It doesn't always blink. So whenever it is blinking the way that it is, it's usually in sync with whatever your EMF is doing. So if you hold that thing up, like you're going to take a selfie and you can see both lights, it'll pretty much be in sync with whatever that light is doing. Nope. You'll get a surge, then the surge will go over there. And look at that, it stopped blinking as soon as I started talking about it, and your EMF stopped as well. So we'll see what happens. That's usually my barometer. But yeah, explore this lot. I'm going to work with the REM card on you for sure in here because it's very unique in this location. So lasers. The other thing I forgot to tell you, lasers can set off car alarms. So your gun and your two lasers. I don't want to run over 11 people on East Main Street. It's never fun. I won't say that I know that from experience. But yeah, let's spread out, have some fun in here. Let's talk about that REM card.
Come on, Maddie. I take it.
Oh, that is REM card. There's on the back. There's two little white buttons. So flip it over, and the button on the right, like underneath the center, is the REM card. So it's lined up. So
Yeah.
so the left one is for this guy. We only want to work with the right. So the way you want to basically hold it, yeah, you got to put it in. Should feel flat. About the turn. Alright, so buttons down the side over here. The very bottom button will set a base for the REM pod. So it's a little clicker. There you go. So whenever it starts going crazy and you can't get it to stop, this device, when you're using it like that, you have to be still. It's meant to be sat in the room on a table and walk away from.
See anything, Fred?
Mm-mm.
But again, when it tests it from time to time, just
Right here, Chad.
working, see if that little blip is there, and you can almost use this as a communication.
Hey, we asked who the president was, and it said Lewis.
Was that a president? And was there ever a president? The
I
last
don't think so
name
either. I don't
I
remember
was
one.
kind of around in high school. I
No.
don't know.
You might want to ask it again.
I'd say it's Biden.
Was there ever one?
I
No.
don't know. It might not be his first. It might be
His first name.
yeah, first name.
I don't know any fucking Lewis.
Find your spot, and what I would do is I would watch everything numbers there and see if they get anything above 0.2. So find your spot, and then kind of that's where you're going to be and test the road.
Pop out.
See what you come up with there. You guys can probably turn that up a little bit here. You have a little bit more
Was
openness.
there a president named Lewis?
No,
The last name?
no, but you're damn close to the maiden name. I'll tell you that.
Weird Lewis. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm at 1.1, Chris. She's right here somewhere. You see her? Point.
Move your purse.
Look at she's on top of me.
Just dry up and do
Do you see her?
Mm-mm.
This is really lighting up right here. Step forward.
I'm not supposed to move.
Oh, told you, Liza. Liza likes it.
Liza. Make a beat.
See? Every time I take a step back, Liza's trying to get away from me.
Line drop down. She was here and I'm right. Right here. She's right here. 3.5 right now. Did you see her? She's over this way somewhere. Pointing at her. 5.0. 2.7. 2.4. She's walking away. Right here.
Found her. Getting it, Chris?
Maybe if Chad brings this flashlight.
Billy, you got your laser beam?
So on the green laser, so you know, I got full
Chris, can you see anything?
you can actually twist the tip. You want to try to keep as many dots as possible. If you have any ground. So it just gives us a better opportunity to work from the left through. And I obviously if you follow the mates, you'll get a bigger span. You never know. Find out on the camera. Now my wife, she does all the photography work for me and all the graphic design stuff. So when I get something I can't explain, I send it to her.
Drop it down. There she is. 4.7. She's right here. 4.
I think she respects women of authority. See anything off the filter?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're all three are killed.
Yeah. It's on your shoulder.
Whose shoulder?
Shelly's. It's on your arm.
This one?
No, the one you're holding the thing in.
You okay?
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Come look at
Are
the
you
thing.
joking or are you being
No, I'm serious. Come here.
I'm telling Rich, he's coming, hang on.
Rich,
Come look at Chris's thing.
We gotta chill.
Chris has got.
Come here.
Keep the Chris.
See that part of her body's missing?
Actually, she's okay.
Yeah.
She's right here.
Chris last.
That's crazy.
What do you see
What are
now?
they saying?
It could just be her jacket.
No, because it didn't. I'm chilly right now.
No,
Chad,
because
shine your
look,
light. She's over here.
let's cut her off.
She's been by your mom.
That's fucking.
She was well
Now look at that.
5.2. She's
Yeah.
right here.
The side of her is
Let's go
cut.
right here.
Yeah, you gotta tell her about
Broken heart syndrome, Maddie, is basically a heart attack.
That's where like your veins start like, or your vessels stinging. So
It's where
Seen
you
anything abnormal. Like with here,
They're not
because you have the
going off
gravel,
anymore.
you're gonna have colder spots, like the wet mud underneath.
Right, but like her side,
It went off like crazy. It's not anymore.
I'll have to
she
watch.
had a wavy. She was, yeah, pretty funny looking there for a minute.
Okay. I'll have to take a look at it in the morning. Did you say something when you saw it?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'll have to look for that marker. That's the kind of stuff we want.
See,
I
now
mean,
look,
it's going to be a split
look
second.
at her legs.
Not even kidding. As we're driving down the road. Yeah, yeah.
And she just turned away. I don't know.
I see like where the split is, but that's basically because she's at a small distance. So the temperature from the ground is almost going to like be overwhelming
I
for
know.
that.
It's like it gets it. It's a weird.
Yeah, that's she has a shirt hanging down,
Yep.
so that's obviously going to be colder than her.
And she has a purse that's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Look at Mike.
Yeah, I actually had to move her purse because it was hanging in front of her and I had to put it up to her side.
That means she's cold-hearted.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
fire, loneliness, broken heart, car accident.
Car accident in the 1750s.
Well, technically we got car died.
So she ran out of gas.
Probably. Good. Worse than that now.
Roger, you getting anything?
I'll have to take a look at his list. He might be getting something that he doesn't know about.
Yeah. Let him see your list for a minute.
But it relates to hers. See? But he said like if you buy like a cover box or something, like you can make it go off.
I get furniture stuff here. Chair. That's the intent, right? How's your run like?
Back here and there, and then yeah. They just jumped up to like 12 and
So the red on the other meter, just so you know,
Right here.
is like 25 bucks.
okay.
But that's what we have. She's got all the way over.
So like right now she's at probably 12, 13 in the orange, and then in the red it's going to say 25 bucks. So again, I'm trying to figure out like what is it actually measuring because there's 3 different types, and there is a device that separates them. But with yours going crazy like that, and by the way, there's no electrical lines underneath us. They've never done a dig here, so this is the one I'm really focused on. This one is like I actually come in here where this has done nothing. You
Right.
see how active it is?
Yeah.
Like it hasn't happened often.
Chad says it's going off like crazy. He thinks I'm making it up.
But
I'm just
going off like crazy.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's going off is why I'm going to pay attention to all the other devices.
Does a storm have to do with anything?
No.
Alright.
I've seen basketball over here.
There again.
It should be somewhat steadier. Incrementally, but it's not really fast. Yeah, I have to let it go. This one's special.
What happened to your mansion? What happened to your mansion?
We did your garden.
Huh?
Your garden.
president did you know?
We can like expand it. I just don't like to do that. So if it's shorter, it's tighter.
Which president would you call
You're
that?
not gonna get as much treatment. Not gonna be so
Which president would you call that?
This is literally just a device, and I'm not sure.
You guys are son.
Did you see anything, Chris?
In case you were wondering.
Nothing.
Okay? Just to solve the mystery. Shelly, yours might be sophisticated, but mine is lighting up. You love your device. Fuck you both. I'm over here doing hot girl shit. Look at this. Like that.
Girls do it.
Shelly, and then red.
She was their hearing. They're hearing a bunch of crazy stuff.
Oh, Steve. No shot. See it.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
having fun.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But,
Yep.
yeah, I think we're kind of ready to regroup. So let's just pull everybody back.
Okay.
Is that Shelly up there? That I gave
Yep.
her?
Yep, Shell, come over here. Yeah.
Googling stuff?
No.
Why?
Snapchatting, but not
5 years after Eliza. No,
Long
or
before that. Long before
Was she
Wait.
5 years old when they got married?
that. No.
55 years.
All right.
they
So,
were number 5 years until one of them died.
let's go at what we actually caught first, and then I'll give you the answers to the rest.
Okay.
So I want to start with the SB7 spirit box, the black one. So tell me about the number that you guys heard.
For me,
Yeah, what number did you guys hear?
2300.
2300 was over there.
Yeah.
What'd you hear over here?
Oh, 3.
3. So how many children did Eliza have?
3.
Depending on her mood, 3 or 4. I told you there was a tragedy. There was an infant that died. So 3 basically tells me she doesn't want to talk about the baby tonight. So I usually get either answer, 3 or 4. So I'm not surprised that we had 3, especially since I mentioned it to you guys ahead of time. Did you guys hear anything else?
You girls did.
Fire.
And then the
And then
9923 something.
9723.
99723.
99723.
Yeah.
So let's start with fire.
Garden.
The mansion did burn down in the Great Fire of 1861. However, that was long after Charles and Eliza's death. So the house was still in the family, and it wasn't just this mansion that burned down. That fire, when we say Great Fire of here in Charleston, because we've had dozens of them, it just means that it was a huge fire and the mansion got in the way. This particular fire started at the Peninsula Coast and went to the other side of the peninsula. Like, it was that large. So again, this house just got in the way. There's no pictures of this house other than after the fire. So unfortunately. So you guys heard 99723. And again, with spirit boxes being slowed down, it can pick up things before and after the thing that they're actually trying to tell us. So that's why I want so much, so I can pick it apart. 23 is 23 years difference between Charles and Eliza. She was 22, he was 45. So again, I've heard the term double come up here before, because it's, you know, doubled over the age, so forth and so on. Let's go over the other answers, because you guys were asking about the pallbearer and all kinds of other things. So I told you about the fire. Eliza was 70 years old when she died, and that was in Philadelphia, and that's also where she's buried. So most people ask me, how many cemeteries are we going to and Stories in the Cemetery tour? We're not. You're walking through one. And think about, if you're buried and dead, are you going to hang out in the cemetery? You're going to go to the places that you love.
I think I heard 70.
You think you heard 70?
I was like, when did he die? I assumed that she died younger.
Yeah.
No, 70. from breast cancer, no less. In 1793, we're looking at medical records. Breast cancer wasn't a thing yet, but yeah. So
Why did you ask about broken heart syndrome?
She heard lonely, and then it broke with.
I want to say Charles died when he was like in his 60s. I'm not going to sit here and make a number up for you to know that for sure, but it's something that I'll definitely dive into. It's not the first time I've heard
What'd you
loneliness.
read about a furniture or something right there? What was that?
Just desk. Yeah, he had the word desk. I often get the word chair here. I don't know why. I can't find a reference for that. But chair and desk makes sense. So Charles was a governor at one point. And his party was the Jeffersonian Republican. So I'll get Jefferson, I'll get Republican. The pallbearer, George Washington. So did anybody hear anything related to wood other than desk? Like the actual word wood or wooden?
Just Lewis.
Oh, that was the other one we forgot. So that was the first word that they heard. The maiden names were Lucas and Lamb. So he could have mistaken that Lewis for Lucas. So again, very, very close. I'm not going to count it because it's kind of a stretch. But again, I think you guys are on the right track for actually capturing legitimate stuff. Sorry, your digital word box is not giving me a whole lot tonight. You said something's about to come up?
Does Amanda mean anything?
Later on. So you guys asked me about like getting direct answers. I've had answers to the questions you asked here come up at the end of the tour. Specific numbers, 22, 45, October. Why is October significant? That's when Charles was born and when he died. So again, if I get October twice, it's usually him. So I don't get excited about 1 October, I wait for 2 of them, because then I know it's him.
What was the 3 things that came up on her thing or whatnot? You said there was more in between.
I don't. What are you talking about?
When we first came over, remember when we were over here and your thing went nuts and his thing, he said, it said something 3 times.
Oh, yeah. What was
It said anymore, but he actually had 3 words come up quickly, and the last one that came up and stayed there for a while was anymore.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll do that, where it'll just kick off a bunch of terms. Most of it looks like it's part of that 80% BS, from what I'm seeing. So, but again, we're not going to be traveling a whole far distance. Where we end is literally like 3 blocks from here. So again, the name Amanda, yes, it means something later on, and we'll explain why later. Hopefully more comes to it. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm not going to get excited yet until something else attaches to it. We're going to walk. What else did I ask you guys to ask? What other questions did you guys want to know? Did I cover them all? Pallbearer was George Washington. So
Don't step under
he was a
Paul.
pallbearer.
Pallbearer.
That means he carried the casket, correct.
He was in the way.
He was in the way. Hey, he's the best man.
And then he was the pallbearer.
It's a thing.
Wait, really?
No, it's not. We're going to walk up East Bay Street to go to our next haunted location. It's about 3.5, 4 blocks. We're going to go to Lodge Alley. So a couple of things along the way. First off, it's a masked area, so up to you. As far as spirit boxes, the ones that you can listen for, I'm listening for names. I'm not going to tell you which names or why until we get there. As we walk through the alley, it's considered a quiet area, so it's right next to a hotel. So they will boot us out if we get too noisy. Absolutely no lasers on East Bay Street. That includes your laser gun. And your EMF meters are going to go crazy because of the parking meters. Our electrical lines for the meters and the crosswalks are underneath the street, so it's strong enough to make those go off, so don't get excited. But yeah, definitely listen to those spirit boxes along the way. Keep filming for us and kind of keep that going. I think that about covers it, so let's go to our next haunted spot. Any questions about this place before we go?
Nope.
I know it's a parking lot, guys, but there's a lot of history here.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, tourists don't talk about this because there's nothing to see.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, that's fast. Super nice fast.
Yeah, power lines on the ground.
I know, I'm waiting for you. Oh, it's like... I don't think so. It's not a bunch of
What?
I would love to put these in your apartment.
Says don't walk. Make sure there's no cars. Ba-bloom.
No, what happened? No, I figured why there's so many goats around. You fucking ran over.
That's very fun.
Hey, let's try this. Hey, no, we're good.
You wanna go? My turn. What language is that?
I have fucking no idea. It's a little jumbled for me. Script.
Yeah, exactly.
Those wine bottles. I'm picture taking everywhere. I saw wine bottles. I took pictures.
There's spirits in the bottles.
Yeah, you bet there is. They'll bring it out of you.
Yeah. She's speaking in tongues. Right,
Oh,
this
this
is where
is
you
cool.
need to be.
We want to get a couple of pictures down here before we all walk down it. So
I like it a lot.
When you're in light and no flash on there, you want to be as still as possible so you don't have blurry pictures. You can use it normally.
If you're doing the
So I've been taking no pictures.
Oh my god. It's not even done.
I took 772 pictures. She didn't tell me I was from the Frank.
It'll shut off from time to time.
Tell me how many pictures I have right now.
4.
4.
I love this. It's so pretty. We need to get a group picture. Yeah.
I would say you probably got about 20.
Okay. Well, let's see. It wasn't on.
Try to
you can take your job.
He's like,
They always do more shady today.
There you go.
never go more. Never. It doesn't matter what. Everybody's gonna holler your shit, Kelly. She's so cute. What do you say? 3 blocks?
She's still trying to take a picture. She's gonna miss the history.
We got her taking pictures now.
All right, she can listen to the audio. So we have to be brief here because it is a quiet area, and this is a hotel that you guys are leaned on. So this is Lodge Alley. When we crossed that last crosswalk, you were now inside the original Charlestown walls. So am I that boring?
No, I'm just tired. I haven't had enough caffeine. I did have a bang before dinner, but it's not enough.
You guys' accent is killing me, by the way.
Accent.
Yeah,
Accent.
What's
an
the
accent.
What accent?
So,
So funny.
I know, it is. Well, I'm from Ohio, so we knew people from Michigan when you all crossed over.
This is super funny. I went to Arizona with my friend a couple years ago, and she's like, "Oh, are you from the Midwest?" This is like guy at a coffee shop. I'm like, "No, I'm from Michigan." She's like, "Oh,
Isn't that the Midwest?
we are the Midwest."
Oh.
I didn't know we were the Midwest.
Okay, continue. I
Continue.
know.
So,
That's what I thought. We were the high five state.
Hey, continuing your story. Let's go.
this was one of our first streets that we ever had in Charleston. People used to live here. So I have the full list of residents and all of their occupations of those people. It was about 100 years span. The name I normally get down here is Benjamin and John. The last name Johnson comes up quite often. The John in his photo, that was his last name. And a lot of times it'll come up with we had John way back then. So again, I have that list of residents. Really cool. I want you to also picture the peninsula of Charleston in the head. That down there across the street was where the Charlestown Wall came across, but there was no buildings behind it, so that smell of low tide would come through quite often. These people were considered lower class. They did do an archaeological dig on these old bricks you guys are walking on. Found tools and silverware, pieces of their clothing. They were able to consider these people lower class just by those artifacts. There was also some evidence of fires over there. Now, the name Mason shows up here a lot too, because this was the Masonic Lodge before it was a residential area. So it makes sense when I get the name Mason, because it was obviously just before these people used to live here. So I get weird pictures down here all the time. You're gonna be the last one out.
Oh, I'm a freaking picture fanatic.
So you're gonna take pictures the opposite way.
I got some selfies in there for you too.
I'll send those over to my wife, and let's get those analyzed.
All right, yeah.
I bet she's
So,
Nice.
as we
Don't
walk
yell at
through
me.
the rest of the alley, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So, no lasers, no loudspeaker boxes. We're going to have to do it quickly because I'm not allowed to be a tour guide in residential areas. It's not to follow tourism laws, even though we're ghost hunting. So, we're going to be quick till we get to our next location, and hopefully your spirit boxes and your thermal imaging is catching something that I can report here in the morning. But I will be listening to her specifically for those names because they come up quite a bit here. And I'll give you the link back where I got that information. So let's take a hike through the rest of this place. Can everybody see up that alley? Do I need a flashlight for anybody?
No, you just don't dance like that.
All right.
He dances like I do. He's amazing.
And he'll tell you he's amazing. He will tell you he knows the dance.
Shelly, let's go down there. It's amazing.
1.7 just keeps getting higher and higher. 2.0. Let's see if we get it close to us. Yeah, it's 1.8.
Shall it? Or Kelly, come here.
See it?
Oh, Jesus. What happened to your legs?
They were gone from here up.
Shelly, your legs are gone right now. Yeah, whatever it was wrapped themselves around your legs. God damn it, Chris got it.
I got the full limit.
No, you got the cool thing too, because you got the cool thing. Then you can see that you really got the cool thing. Because you got no legs.
I don't know if that's cool.
No, it was like you're missing.
Really?
Yeah, you're hot here. Your knees are really hot. Where'd they go?
Crazy.
Oops.
Come on, Kelly.
Yep, you got everybody now? Yep. All right.
People are looking at me.
I've seen right behind I've seen it in the past.
So I turn around and put the camera on you guys so you pay attention to me.
Yeah, he had the camera on you if I disappeared from the waist down.
Right.
No, she did. She disappeared from here to her knees.
Right. Yep.
She did?
Weird.
That thing ate her legs out.
Weird.
That was weird.
I took pictures too. We'll find out when it was
Jesus, I should have brought me an Amigo. Whatever the things are.
Excuse me, sir. Do goose smoke dive?
See, we should have brought those skateboards.
I bought my lasers on there.
What? I didn't do it.
Ooh, this looks fun.
Okay, can I ask you a question? I'm not going to say it in your terminology.
Go ahead.
Okay, so her thinger went off. I took pictures, I couldn't see shit. But his finger made her legs disappear.
What?
Yeah.
Like her-
around her knees. There
from
was no
her-
knees.
Like from here up was
Did it
gone.
go-
Like
Gone.
move, or did it just kind of stay there?
It stayed there, and then when she come over, it started to come back.
Benjamin took it.
I'll have to look at it.
And then I
Is it
took pictures, and her finger was going nuts.
on which end?
The top number, the
The
big
top
one.
number. Okay.
Yeah.
And it could have been the parking meters because there are parking meters on that street.
No,
It
this
was-
was
No, we're
in
in
the
the
alley.
In the alley. Okay.
Yep, right
That's really
there
cool, actually.
at like the cross where that sidewalk that went through.
Yeah.
Oh, there might have been power right there. There, I think there's a power box right
Because
there.
I know at the beginning of it, that's Magnolia's Restaurants. So that will make it go off, but in the center, there should be really nothing there.
Here, go get. I don't know how to work that thing, but show me and I'll show you.
Shelly, I thought you asked me if I washed my legs. I'm like, of course I wash my
Yeah, I'm
legs.
taking lots of pictures. I took pictures at first.
You're not
standing
going to beat the
there.
shit out of anybody because you're 100 pounds. Get over yourself.
120, actually, I've gained weight.
Is that, yeah, that's when she was standing there and her legs were gone. Is there a power box? Yep.
Well, she was right next to the hotel. So if
Yeah.
somebody's in that room and they got a bunch of electronics plugged in, that's going to
Could
make
be
your
it.
parents come through. So that's a
Kids.
possibility. And there's a power box at,
Right there.
well, it was a little bit before, like it's down here.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
her finger went nuts and then her legs were gone and I took pictures.
Okay.
This is not me.
I'll take a look at the video.
Oh, this one's getting hurt.
All right. So, welcome to. How are we doing on your Spirit Box word list? You got anything coming up?
I don't know if it's Ezekiel means anything, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the only thing that you got out of Lodge Alley?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, welcome to some of the legends and lore of Charleston. This is kind of like where we take a break from investigating. So, stuff pops up at a thermal imaging and Spirit Box stuff that's just cool and additive. So, we're going to tell you why Amanda is relevant. Did you guys all see the gorgeous alley we passed? Did you guys walk through?
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful.
it is. It's probably the best spot we have here in Charleston, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, day or night, it's the best picture spot. Just so
We're
you
coming
know.
back tomorrow.
But it's called Philadelphia Alley, but it used to be called Jewelers Alley. So that's where our duels used to occur here in Charleston. And if you guys turn around and see the opening in the wall back there, there's a doorway.
Dude standing there taking a leak.
What's it?
I said
There's a
that.
dude standing there taking a leak a minute ago.
On the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the girl song too. But on that doorway, not the tour guides don't normally know what that is. So what that doorway is when there was a death in a duel, the dead guy, they would pick him up and carry him through that doorway over the courtyard and take him over to St. Philip Cemetery. They would drop the body in an already pre-dug grave and then they would go celebrate the winter. Like that's just kind of how things went. I call it the death gate. So let's tell you the duel that we all talk about and why Amanda showed up so early in our word list. So there was a doctor that was supposed to move down here from New Jersey. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Lag. So,
That's weird. Oh, maybe because I hit it by my phone.
yep, exactly what. So the doctor moved here because he was supposed to get married to his fiancee, Amanda. So why is he gonna move down here? Because Amanda just inherited a bunch of money, and the attorney handling that money said, "You're not getting married yet. Send the doctor away. Let's make sure he's not after the cash." So she inherited that money from her dead parents. So she has to listen to the attorney. So the doctor moves to town, and the coachman brings him into town, set him up to be robbed and killed. So a person walking by named Rob Isaac sees what's going on and says, "You don't want to stay here. This is a bad part of town. You're going to die." So he takes him to 59 Church Street. We're on Church Street now, so it's about a mile that way. So the two become friends, but the doctor, he's moving up in the hierarchy of Charleston. So because he's making money, he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he's a pretty happy guy. Amanda's going to be moving down soon, and he's making pretty good cash. So when him and Ralph go see plays together, because we're talking 1800s, no movie theaters yet, they had different seats because the doctor makes more money. So they had to talk about these plays on the way home. They're talking about William III one night. The doctor loves the new actress that's in town. Ralph does not. They start arguing. Then it turns into an insult party on Amanda. So obviously the two get pissed off and go their separate ways. But Ralph is from here, so he has ties to the newspaper. So what he does is he calls them up and he puts an ad in the paper about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city. So not a very cool thing to do. The doctor sees it, and he says, "Let's go down to Jewelers Alley and settle this." So they go down, take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. However, Ralph took his one shot on the kneecap of the doctor. His friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later. They say as you walk through that alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor and or gunshots. The reason I told you that story is because we had Amanda show up, so I'm going to be focused on those other elements of that story to see if we actually captured anything else. So, again, I would love to take you down there, not allowed. I used to take people down there, can't do it anymore. We're going to go up and take a look at this cemetery, get you guys up and walking again, just kind of show you one of the signs that's inside the cemetery gate. You guys see the light that's flashing through the cemetery in the trees there?
Yes.
That light is so that people like us get a flashback when we're taking pictures and film because of this quick story. The signs...
Cemeteries are the least haunted places ever.
They are.
Okay.
This one, in particular, actually has evidence. One giant piece of evidence. So in 1888, a woman died 6 days after her stillborn child. So her name was Sue Howard Hardy. 1987, we have a photographer in town. Well, he lives here. He's a local. He's taking pictures. He captures a full apparition, a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her. I would show you the picture, but it's cursed. So females that hold it start to get the same symptoms I told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant holding it don't have a good pregnancy. I'm not taking risks of superstitions of my own. But the sign that's inside the church says there's no ghost at St. Philip's but the Holy Ghost. So we're going to go up and take a look. We can shine our lasers in there, just not too far off. And kind of obviously get some pictures if you guys want some pictures of the cemetery. But I also want you to notice that there's two different sides to the cemetery. This side is for native Charlestonians only. That's for everybody else. John Calhoun, 17th Vice President that lived here, he's on this side. He was moved 3 different times trying to figure out where he was supposed to go. He's in a sarcophagus, which is a big heavy stone coffin. So, sorry, we got young kids here. I need to make sure they know what the hell I'm talking about.
So they like picked his body up several times
They picked up the big tomb and moved it.
with his dead body in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Should have put it on wheels. She moved him around.
So let's go check, just so you guys get a chance to see one of our cool cemeteries, and then we're going to go across the street.
Amanda.
I should have done it twice. Yeah, no, we're putting this on bitch on some wheels.
Or you're just staying where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you do this specifically impossible.
Oh my gosh, I hate
Pretty much.
Yeah, look at that.
Here's the side.
I was gonna clap for that.
On this side, you can't go in because we're renovating it, but you can walk that one during the daytime.
I can't see. I'm blind.
Something except the blossom right there, so. But yeah, it's a cemetery. Don't get a whole lot of, activity out of this, but sometimes if I call Sue Susan, Sue comes up like she's correcting me. Like, my name isn't Susan, it's Sue.
Can I take temperature?
You can.
Look at that. See how it was flashing?
Batteries might be running low.
That's why I'm wondering. It was kind of pulsating a little bit.
Yeah, and that thing will kind of burn up after 5 minutes of steady. So, but most people won't, keep it out for 5 minutes at a time. All right, let's go learn about some pirates and our last investigation.
Jason, Chris.
Oh.
Back off or else, guys.
Alright, so we're on the other side of the cemetery. So I kind of like to come to this corner first to see. Not that I want to give you guys headaches, but that's in theory by bringing you guys over here. Oh, and by the way, when we are over, she's laughing at me.
I'm laughing at you. Talk to me. Talk to me. She's like, I didn't get to you.
Heading the cemetery. I love it. It's gonna be my new tagline. At the cemetery.
He just has to touch on
When we were over at the Pinckney Mansion site, and I told you guys that I wasn't going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, but I gave you that question on purpose. Like I said that on purpose because it's a suggested thought to see if you guys would actually come up with a president who was the pallbearer, and you guys all passed. So you didn't come up with George Washington on your own. Was it George Washington? You know, because I suggestively said it. So you guys passed. Again, I play mind tricks. It's fun.
What did we do? I don't know
Never mind,
either.
honey. Don't worry about it.
It's
over and done.
I don't need to further explain it? Okay. All right.
I'll explain it later.
All right, cool.
I'll tell you when you're older, honey.
You let a man get the good. Don't do it
Oh,
again.
wow. You really rephrase the things you say.
This is going to be an... I might actually have to listen to this audio. This is a good one. So, I can hear my wife now as she's getting ready for work, like, what did you do last night? You said you were
It was
milk.
all your fault.
Like, the kids were all wanting to know what you look like.
You got a picture of her?
Why the interest in my wife?
Daddy?
So,
I don't like girls. Not anymore,
I wasn't saying it for that purpose.
Here we
I'm
go.
not hitting on you, but she might be.
that's probably why she's been following me all night.
Not my type, sorry.
And that's usually, I'm very careful about that. I'm the hottest thing in the picture, especially when I have a bunch of bridesmaids with me. because it-
Oh my God, you
Yeah.
poor thing.
Yeah. It's like, I know I look like a Backstreet Boy. So, my wife is disabled, and she says, you know, she wears braces to walk. So she's always saying, you know, I'm not going to run away, but I worry about you out on the streets of Charleston on a Saturday night. So I'm like, where am I going to go? So, but anyway, but that's her joke all the time is, I'm not running away. No shit, you can't run. Good thing she doesn't listen to these audios either. She was actually on a tour doing actual photography for social media for us, and I did that I'm the hottest guy in the picture line, and she like elbowed me, and everybody lost it. Like, that's funny. She's like, you need to stop doing that one. That's funny. But anyway, so on the other side of the cemetery, there was a house, of course, residential tour guide thing, yada yada. But anyway, that house is called the Pirate House, and somebody lives there now. You can't miss it. It has a big anchor on the front, so that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships and go have a few drinks, meet with a few ladies. The cool thing is that they actually dug a tunnel from the Pirate House over one block to go to Dock Street Theater because there was prostitution there, and they could work. Face it, pirates can tie knots like nobody else, so it's a theater. So they would basically work backstage.
That was a prostitution reference, and I lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
But yeah, they would meet with a few friends. Sorry, try to keep it somewhat vanilla for the kids.
Our kids
I'm
know.
showing my age, aren't I?
Oh, wait.
Yes. Moving on. So let's talk about this building here. So I told you guys about this first off. This is the Power magazine. This held gunpowder
I'm not touching you.
for 7 different wars.
This
I
building
am
here.
so curious on where you guys have been before you met with me today.
I'm not even drunk. I promise.
Harris Teeter.
Really?
Harris Teeter.
We went to the grocery store.
Teeter.
Then we're at Charleston Crabs.
This is Charleston Crab Shack.
We're not drunk, I promise.
Well,
The girls all claimed you guys were all drunk. They
Oh.
ratted you out.
Yesterday, yes.
I didn't drink anything.
Alright, let's get back on track. This was the Powder magazine, called Gunpowder. I told you guys earlier tonight about we had a big earthquake.
Yeah.
And there, I don't know if anybody's ever pointed out earthquake bolts to you before.
What are they?
Not here.
Oh, faults?
Yeah.
Earthquake bolts. So they go either through the roof of a building or through the floors. So the apartment building in the back actually has earthquake bolts on every floor.
Okay.
But the ones I want you to look at are the ones that look like crosses on the Powder magazine. Those are the
Oh.
very first earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston.
where's the Powder
The premise is that if we get earthquaked
They're
again,
they're
the
man-made
building's
now.
gonna rumble, and then
Okay.
you tighten up those bolts, and it basically puts it back upright again. We've never had to use them because we've never had another earthquake.
Has any other town used them?
Picking it back up.
No, it's
I
like a
don't even know how it
turnbuckle.
works.
Do you know what a turnbuckle is? It tightens the building back up.
How's it gonna work, Chris?
Takes it back to square.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see it from
I don't see it working either. Was the theory tested anywhere
What are
else
we
or no?
looking
California.
And did it work?
They all have, like, all the earthquake states have earthquake bolts.
What are we looking at?
So
We have
The
snow
cross
there.
in the building, the white building cross.
Okay.
there's a lot more to this, guys.
I was
Hang in
looking
there.
at that.
Guys,
Okay.
listen and ask
Shut
questions
your
later.
mouth.
So I told you guys about the Charlestown Wall, right?
Yes.
The street that it was on was the one we're looking at right now. That's Cumberland Street. That's where the Charlestown Wall came up, and it went up about half a block past the powder magazine. Still petting the cemetery. So the powder magazine was literally in the corner of the Charlestown walls for a reason. So if it were to get attacked 3 blocks away from the water from a cannon, those walls are 35 inches thick. So if it gets penetrated by the cannon, there's sand in the roof from 1712 that would literally blow up in the air and then fall to put out the flames from the gunpowder exploding.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's cool.
It doesn't work.
We're like, whoo, that was some smart thinking.
It is smart thinking. We had another powder magazine near the battery, obviously much closer to the water because the peninsula gets skinnier. That one did get attacked, the sand did fall, but it did not put out the flames and the whole building burned to the ground. Now, this is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. Notice they said government building. We have houses older than that. So, just kind of pointing that out.
This building.
This little building with the crosses on it.
It's a government building.
It's a museum now. You can actually go inside and visit and it'll show you all the different wars that it served in. It shows all the artillery, all the uniforms. Just a small little 30-minute tour. It's really cool, actually. It's only like $5 a head. But anyway, so during the time that this building was being built, which was a whole decade, 1703 to 1713, a young lady moved here from Ireland with her dad and his mistress, which happened to be her mother. They moved here from Ireland to get away from his wife. That's how angry this woman was. So, she saw this building being finished, obviously, and it's really the only tie I have of why Anne Cormack is tied to this building. So as she sees this building being finished, she turns into a teenager. We have pirates coming through town. She falls in love. His name was James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy-ass pirate. So they move to Jamaica, they get married, Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny. However, James is not the pirate that she was hoping he would be. He's not the Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow kind of mentality. He turned out to be a privateer, which basically means he was a spy on his own people for the British. He was an ass. So she falls in love again with John Raglan, and another upcoming pirate, aka Calico Jack. Calico Jack gets his own ship. He's young and up and coming. She wants to be part of the crew.
She likes those naughty boys.
Yeah, pretty much. So she wants to be part of the crew, so she asks Jack if she can become part of the crew, but females aren't normally on the ships because they curse the ships. He says, you can dress like a guy and be part of the crew and be a female in my quarters. So that's exactly what she does. He dresses like a guy, and then obviously being a female in his quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. So what's Calico Jack do? He drops her off in Cuba because he can't have her showing her pregnancy. And he says, have the baby in Cuba, and then come back to the ship dressed like a male, and we'll figure it out. Well, she goes to Cuba, comes back to the ship dressed like a female, no baby. You have no idea what happened to the baby. So, but she's dressed like a female. Now Jack is pissed. But during the time that she was gone, Jack captured another ship, and there was a whole crew down below deck. So she's like, I'm gonna go flirt with these guys and go piss off, make them jealous. She goes down there, and she's flirting with somebody. Turns out that was a female dressed like a male to be part of that pirate crew that got captured by Calico Jack. So the two become friends. Her name was Mary Read. So whenever you look up Anne Bonny, it's usually Mary Read alongside of her. She convinces Mary to become part of the crew. British fleet attacks, but all the other pirates are down below deck watching the prisoners and are too drunk to come up and fight. So it's Anne Bonny and Mary Read literally taking on the entire British fleet. It's like, I can't even tell you how many ships. So, badass chicks, but they lost. The ship got captured. I told you I'm not your typical tour guide. So,
Just picture these two cross-dressers trying to fight off like a pirate ship.
You seen them yesterday down Main Street.
I forgot about that.
so all the pirates down below deck obviously get tried and hung for piracy, but Anne and Mary, because they fought back, the judge wants to see them separately. His name was Nicholas Laws.
But he does.
Yeah. He doesn't know that they're female.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So is he?
So when they go to trial, they reveal their gender, and he says, I don't care, you're still convicted for piracy and you're going to be hanged. And they pled their bellies at that point, which basically meant they were both pregnant. So they said, we'll delay your hanging until you have the baby.
So they got pregnant.
We don't know that.
Oh, okay.
Again, could have been a lot. We're talking 1720. We have no clue. So Dad is still here in Charleston. He's able to bail out Ann Bonnie, and allegedly she comes back here, maybe moves to Virginia, gets remarried, has 4 children, and dies at the age of 84. Don't know why we have such specific things, but again, a lot of holes in this story. That's why you're going to ask whatever questions you want to. What happens to Mary Reed? She dies in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. So use your imagination.
We're asking that question in this parking lot.
We're going to go close to the powder magazine, and like those with cameras, you guys can go to the front and use your lasers in the front lawn. Video camera, we can do the same thing there. So where's the video? You can go up to the front if you want to, but spirit boxes, we're going to kind of stick to the side of this building and kind of see what we can capture. I'm interested in the REM pod here just because it did give me some activity. The thermal imaging, I told you I caught some evidence over the past few weeks. It's always been near the powder magazine. So we'll kind of see what happens. But yeah, ask whatever questions you want to. If you get answers, I want to know what they are and what questions you ask.
Gage, say goodbye.
What's on our word list? Sorry, did I interrupt the girlfriend text?
Huh? No.
Oh. What do we got going on?
What did it say?
You don't know. He's texting.
Ready? You're back there. Let's see if we can track the gatas.
What are you doing?
Getting deep.
Huh?
It's going in deep on that one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh, you can't get over there.
You can't get over there?
No.
Hey, they go into the front
Yeah, it should be.
on the grass.
There is no fucking grass.
Well, we can't get on the grass. Do you fart?
No. Think you did.
You see any light? You can't see anything wrong with it. It's me. You gotta do it other than that. I don't see any grid. You see anything, Fran?
So the thermal imaging, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I told the story up in that corner just because there were so many tours going on here. And the person that was holding the red spirit box, the one that the girls have, the person was filming them. There was a white shadow that kind of came over it. It was like a weird little glitch. And I was standing next to her, nothing on me. Then that spirit box died. And I couldn't get it turned back on until we walked away from the area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I was like, let me know if you see anything goofy here. I've also seen, like, blue blobs, like, start on somebody, and then all of a sudden it moves, and it dissipates into wherever, whatever the temperature is around. It's weird. It just, it moved. It wasn't like, you know, the leg thing that we, that's why I was asking if it stood still with your stuff that you found. Because I'm like, standing still, that's a blending, you know, because the camera doesn't know 3D. But this moved. Like, it was a blob that moved. I'm like, oh, shit, we actually got something. So...
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Stuff that moves.
All right.
Weird white glitches.
They don't even know what they're doing.
You guys getting answers about baby daddies and swinging?
Yeah, she's a swinger.
Ask if he is the father.
Oh yeah, ask how many kids.
He's just going right in. Fast questions.
How many kids do you have?
Oh my god, that baby.
Have you found anything?
I don't know. I could get an earache.
I know. I'm like gonna lay down and take a nap right here.
I know.
Mary, who's your baby dad?
Oh, you guys were sitting right next to a poopy diaper.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. You guys were sitting right next to a poopy diaper. Oh.
You don't want to touch them.
No.
Mary?
That's going crazy.
Oh, a great diaper sniffer. That's even better.
It's my hand. She just called him.
Daddy? Isn't that a hair sniffer? Hold on, take a smiley picture for him. Let's do a Maddie picture.
I got one.
Wait, I got it. I almost got it.
I got a steady 0.4. I'll never forget it.
He's gonna love us.
I heard number one. We're gonna
What?
die.
We're not gonna die.
Evil. Who's evil? Me?
Knievel. No, it's Knievel.
Knievel.
Yeah.
Why is it saying evil? Is that me?
Above. That's part of the evil. Evil. Said, no, it said evil above.
Nobody. Look at me when I put mine on. So, he said evil above.
What is that? Did it say she's a runner? Didn't run away to get married.
It's a little duck.
It is too. Oh my god, let's kill this. Duck. It's a baby duck.
Oh, it's a fake duck.
What is it?
It's a little burn. I found a fake duck.
I would not touch that if I were you.
Oh, it's the duck for the Jeep thing?
You got anything coming up on there?
Every time somebody says don't touch something, I look over and Maddie's holding it. Why is that?
Because I have it in my hands and then we go, oh, I should touch that. Well, we're going to get that.
What kind of roof's that, Chris?
How many of us are in?
Terracotta?
Is it terracotta?
Listening to these stations is like riding with Dad in the car. I'm barely getting
That is true.
Don't want to talk to us.
He doesn't do that on everything for, like, even if watching my name.
It's your purse.
Oh.
You're fucking annoying. You click back and forth from channel to channel. I don't give a shit about how.
Is that how you saw her legs were gone? Or like, did you see it in person?
No, otherwise they disappear on video or on the camera.
Driver's license! Because I took her
Fuck.
What?
I asked how many people are in our group, and I think I heard 11. I was like, how many are in our group? And I think I heard 11.
No, not. It's our group. I mean, I think more really
I agree.
Quit it.
Wait, you're not back to me.
Hurry up and show yourself. It's 6. Quarter after 6.
I'm happy it's supposed to be warm tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not supposed to get real cold tonight.
Yeah, good.
65 for a low tonight, I think.
Alright, where's the word list? You got anything else coming up?
Just talking to you.
Oh, I hope it's not saying anything. They don't want to talk.
Maddie, put it down.
Take Isaac for sure. Alright, so on his word list, he actually got the name Isaac, and if you remember the story about the doctor, his duel was with Ralph Isaac. So we're still very comfortable
It just went all the way over.
because you clicked it off and then on again.
Oh. I didn't know that was the power button. I've been playing with it.
There's only one button. That's why I didn't show it to you.
My hand on a
I'm gonna push
snail.
if I see a button.
Alright, so I'm definitely going to have to go through the red spirit box because you guys, I'll be honest, you didn't really hear much. So I'll have to go through that in the morning
I
and
got
see what we
some
got.
baller pictures.
Baller pictures.
You better look even at the last one. Patty gave you some special ones.
Wow.
That's on Facebook.
Well, the funny thing is because all the photos don't go to my website, I give you a link to your Facebook, like on my Facebook, so that way you can have a whole folder and it doesn't take up room on my website because there's usually 500 pictures on there.
Wait, so people can see pictures.
Not tonight, you won't be.
I will
It was
be
all
editing.
Maddie's
Don't
fault.
worry. So again,
Delete.
I find a lot that I have to delete, especially when I have. I'll say my bridesmaids
like
group.
this.
Forget it. Like I don't even hand out the camera because I know what I'm getting back. So, at any rate, so I'm definitely gonna go through the thermal. Did you see anything weird on that here?
No.
Nothing crazy.
No.
All right, so let's start collecting these devices. I'll get you guys my card.
Shut this
All
bad
right,
lad
thermal
off.
imaging camera first.
Are you gonna
One
tell us
video?
how to get back though?
Yeah. Awesome. You're the man. You just